There's a story we all know too well, even if we've never told it out loud. It's the story of the masks we wear. Not the physical kind, but the ones we learn to put on as kids, as teenagers, and later, as adults. They're invisible, but they shape everything: how we talk, how we act, how we hide. I want to tell you about a few people I've known. People who, like me, spent years hiding behind a mask they never chose. They didn't even realize they were wearing it until it was too late. There's a guy I grew up with, let's call him Jack. He was the type who always had a joke ready. The class clown, always making everyone laugh. But behind the jokes, there was something else, something no one saw. His mask was one of humor, a mask he wore to cover up the fact that he was hurting. Jack was the kind of person who learned early on that no one cared about the pain. So, he hid it. Every time someone asked, "How's it going?" he'd flash a smile, crack a joke, and move on. But underneath, he was sinking. The mask of humor is one we've all seen. It's one I've worn myself. It tells the world, I'm okay, when really, you're not. It's one of the hardest masks to let go of, because people get so used to seeing you that way. They want you to be the one who lifts them up, makes them laugh, keeps everything light. And after a while, you forget that you're wearing the mask too. You start believing that's all you are. But Jack wasn't fine. I remember one day, years later, when he finally broke down. When the jokes stopped coming and the smile fell away. He looked at me with eyes I'd never seen on him before, and he said, "I just want it all to stop. I don't want to wake up tomorrow. I'm so tired of pretending." That's the thing about wearing a mask. It doesn't just hide you from the world, it hides you from yourself. Then there's Sarah. She was different. The one who always had it together. The overachiever. The girl who did everything right. But her mask wasn't humor. It was perfection. Sarah was raised in a home where failure wasn't an option. Where mistakes were seen as weakness. So, she learned to hide them. She never let anyone see her struggle. Not in school, not in her career, not even in relationships. Sarah's mask was built from expectations. Expectations passed down by her family, by society, by everyone around her. And as the years went on, that mask became so tightly bound to her face that she couldn't take it off anymore. She was always perfect, always doing what was expected, always keeping everything in line, until she couldn't. I remember seeing her after her world fell apart. She sat there, in the dark, barely moving. And when I asked her what was wrong, she didn't say, "I'm lost," or "I don't know who I am anymore." No, she said, "I don't want to be here anymore. I'm just so tired of living like this. I just want to die." That's what happens when you wear a mask for so long. You don't just lose yourself, you start to lose your will to keep going. Then there's me. My mask was different too. It wasn't humor, and it wasn't perfection. Mine was silence. I learned to stay quiet from a young age, to push things down, to avoid conflict. I thought that's what strength was, keeping everything inside, never letting anyone see what was really going on. It wasn't about hiding from others, it was about hiding from myself. The less I said, the less I had to confront. The less I felt. But silence, it's a dangerous mask. You think you're in control, but really, it controls you. Every time I said, "I'm fine," I was tightening the mask. Every time I avoided a hard conversation or swallowed my emotions, I was letting the mask take over. And before long, I wasn't just hiding my pain. I was burying it. The thing about masks is that they don't appear out of nowhere. We inherit them. From our parents. From society. From the world around us. We learn, at a young age, that certain emotions aren't bad. That showing weakness, or sadness, or fear is unacceptable. So, we learn to hide those parts of ourselves. We put on the mask, and we carry it with us for years, even decades, without ever questioning where it came from. But here's the thing. there comes a point where the mask doesn't fit anymore, where you start to feel trapped by it, where you start to realize that you've been living someone else's life, following someone else's rules. And when that happens, when you finally see the mask for what it is, you have a choice to make. You can keep wearing it, keep pretending, keep hiding, or you can let it go. You can start the painful process of taking it off, layer by layer, until you find the person underneath. I've learned that the masks we inherit aren't always ours to keep. They're passed down, sometimes without us even realizing it. And it's up to us to decide whether we want to carry them forward or break the cycle. It's not easy. I'm still learning, still trying to figure out life without the mask. There are days when it feels safer to put it back on, to go back to silence, to stay hidden. But I know now that the mask isn't protection. It's a prison. And the only way out is through honesty. Honesty with myself and with the people around me. It's about learning to say, this is who I am without the mask. To admit that you don't have it all together, that you don't have to be perfect, that you don't have to hide behind humor, or perfection, or silence. It's about breaking the cycle, the one we inherited, and finding the courage to be real. Because in the end, the masks we wear, they don't protect us. They just keep us from living. And I don't want to live like that anymore. So, I'm learning. Slowly. Learning to take off the mask, one piece at a time. Learning to let go of the silence, the hiding, the fear. It's a long process, but I know it's worth it. Because for the first time in a long time, I'm starting to see who I really am.